What? Hey, what's up, D Elixir? Thanks for the fire. Appreciate it. Hey, everyone. This is the Crypto Harlem live stream. It is September 2nd, unless I'm wrong about that. And it's 2023, last time I checked. And I am not in Harlem because there's a blue sky with no cityscape and a bunch of greenery around me. So, yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to say welcome to Crypto Harlem live stream. If it's your first time here, kick back, sit back, Uh, we talk about how to become or be the hacktivist, as we say, which is really just like using your passion for technology, which is a double-edged sword, and is good and bad. It helps people and hurts people, for better things, right? To make this world a better place. And like a lot of people might have that idea, but like, how do we actually do it? How do we make it happen? So that's what we talk about here, and we also talk about, like, again, how to be a hacktivist in the most positive and legal and impactful way of those words. Like not ripping things down, but building a better future from a keyboard. So some people will write letters, and some people will be engaged civically, whether that's voting or some people will march, some people will protest. But there's so much you can do when you have technical skills, and we kind of talk about that, how to bridge that gap and use your knowledge and passion for tech for a positive way, how to protect folks who are from the harms of negative tech, irresponsible tech, dangerous tech, and just really how to be more thoughtful about this world we live in and make technology something that's more positive for more people. As we know, it harms marginalized groups the most. It harms, people who are already pushed to the margins of our societies, depending on where you live, that might, look like or be a different person. Like, where I live, that's Black and brown folks, undocumented people, it's Muslim folks. But where you live might be someplace else, but it doesn't matter. Whatever you care about, there's a way to make it better, to protect the groups you care about, the thoughts you care about, the things you care about with technology. And that's what we're about here. So we've been doing like a series on hacktivists. I think it's so important to understand the history of hacktivism. And we had talked about this group AI, not to be confused with artificial intelligence, right? Ustici Inventanti, right? And last stream, if you go back and watch it, is all about them. And so we thought, like, and we also talked about their book that they published, Plus Chaos, which is like 10 years of hacktivism, uh, and it talks about and Italian indie media. It talks about the history of their organization. Talks about a lot of cool things in that book. So this time I thought I'd talk about like probably one of the most popular but like not well understood hacktivist groups, which is Anonymous, which is really like very well known globally. Of course, we all know like the Guy Fawkes mask and that symbol, or the man in the suit with no face, depending on how far back you go. So I thought, yeah, well, let's talk about that. And hopefully you can hear me okay and you can see me all right out there. And the group Anonymous started in 2006 with a video that was uploaded to YouTube, which was kind of like in response to um, media saying that there were these dangerous computer hackers out there. And, you know, then in 2007, again, probably like with the beginning of their operations against the Church of Scientology, they gained probably the most amount of fanfare and notoriety. So if you want to understand Anonymous, I recommend this book, which is very exhaustive, like very detailed analysis called Hacker, Hoaxer, Whistleblower, Spy. And Hacker, Hoaxer, Whistleblower, Spy, The Many Faces of Anonymous by Gabriella Coleman. And yeah, in it, she just talks about like really in depth so much more than just Anonymous. Talks about the internet, talks about trolls, talks about human beings who are involved in this thing, good, the bad, the ugly. It's really like an academic, uh, like almost like it's published from Verso Books, which does a lot of interesting like books on political activity and society and social justice and things like that. But it's really like an academic anthropological look at Anonymous. So the book looks like this, okay? And it is called Hacker, Hoaxer, Whistleblower, Spy. Um, when did this book first come out? There's more than one edition. This is the newer one that has like a new afterword. Let's see if I can find it because my memory will totally fail me if I try to just act like I remember. First published 2014, right? Published in paperback 2015. So yeah, it goes back. But because Anonymous was on the scene or created or whatever you want to call it in 2006, 2014, 2015, only a couple of years ago, maybe like not that bad. Like it really is a very up to date look. It doesn't talk about things that came afterwards, um, which was really kind of Anonymous disappearing as not being that well known, not being that above ground in the following years after the book was published. And then it doesn't talk about like the revitalization of the name and what appears to be like political activity to coincide with things like the 2020 summer of racial reckoning, George Floyd, all that other stuff. Uh, and it also doesn't talk about like the latest current stuff because how could it? It was only published in 2015. So interesting. The book is pink on the back there. So far we're only sharing pink hacktivist books because Chaos Plus is also pink. Maybe that's a theme. Maybe if you're gonna write a hacktivist book, you got to have some pink stuff. And let's see what's interesting in this book. I mean, there's so much in this book. You could just any one chapter in this book, they're so big and so dense. I think there's like 11 or 12 chapters in this book. And let me tell you, so many words, so much passion. But it's written by Gabriella Coleman. And Gabriella is an anthropologist and a researcher and a technologist and gained access to really like a lot of the well-known personalities, people, members of Anonymous, and details like how she. It's also about like it's as much as it's about the hacktivist group Anonymous. It's also about Gabriella. It spends a big chunk of every chapter is more about like who is she meeting with, how it's impacting her thoughts around hacktivism as they evolve and change, um, her thoughts around the people as they evolve and change. So that's what also I think keeps it interesting. It's like a narrative that I thought was really exciting. It's not just an academic work that's focused on one particular group. That actually kind of helps it a lot, helps it move around a lot. So yeah, I would definitely recommend the book. I think you should definitely check it out. Um, Before I could talk more about the book, I want to talk about some current events. So let's see if I can remember all the things I wanted to talk about. There's a version of Linux that a lot of people who work in cybersecurity as an industry use. Wouldn't say that a lot of like cyber criminals use or hackers necessarily use, but you can use, which is called Kali Linux, which came from Backdraft Linux, and we taught, which was just a series of other people's tools. It was kind of like a best of for the year on a CD-ROM of like these are the tools that most people who want to just get started with download. So we just put it on the CD for you, and that's evolved into an organization, cybersecurity firm in Israel, Offensive Security, publishing Kali Linux and Kali Rolling, and a mobile phone version of it called NetHunter. Well, there's a new version of it out. It's based on a Linux flavor or version called Debian. And this summer, Debian 12 was released. And so the folks at Offensive Security, the folks at Kali, they were sat down. They were like, let's take this opportunity to update Kali Linux. So they've actually updated it. So if you go to the Kali Linux website, you'll find that a lot of the major updates are not noticeable. They're invisible things for to make it easier to update, better in the future, smoother, work a little better, whatever, you know. Some noticeable things are some interface changes, especially for NetHunter, which is the mobile phone version of Kali. They've increased support on different devices. As anyone who uses NetHunter will know, it doesn't work on everything perfectly. Mostly you're going to end up with some kind of version of an older Android phone or some kind of international Android phone. So it has new support for some phones, including some Xiaomi phones, which is a very popular Chinese brand phone. Let's see what else do they have. It has some cloud security stuff added to it, which is cool. They have this thing called Autopilot, which is an attack framework. It's kind of like scripting, automated scripting, uh, automations like SOAR like automations, SOAR like automations, and Metasploit type attack stuff. I don't know. So it's like Kali's version of like a tool you can actually use to automate checking the security of a box. And so they have a Kali purple part of their website. You could get scripts for autopilot. So I think it's really exciting. It's, now that it's not like a experimental project and now it's more in Kali. So check it out, Kali Linux fans. Another thing from the news, University of Michigan faced a severe cyber attack on, I think it was last weekend, but I don't know. I don't know exactly when it happened. And that caused all kinds of mess where the university shut down all their computer systems, detached the entire university network from the known internet. That's always not a good sign when you pull the cord, like you hit the red button. That shows like we don't really understand the nature of this attack. And to protect our systems that are not already harmed, we're just going to detach everything from everything. That's a pretty, it is important to contain, but that is a nuclear option. So the entire university was taken offline, and then they brought each system back. It appears like one by one. Of course, like things like the university's ability to pay financial aid and things like that is going to be slowed down. It was the day before school was supposed to start. I think it was Sunday, and school started Monday, so that created all kinds of chaos and impacted a lot of like freshman students and returning students. University of Michigan cyber attack. Like the specifics of the cyber attack, they didn't really share too much, as far as I could tell. And I don't want to get too into that, but yeah, that happened. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, um, there's many types of two-factor people use. You might have Google Authenticator as the multiple, as a way to log into your device. Um, you might have Authy from Twilio as a way to log into your device. It's one of my favorites. I use Authy, Authy. A lot of people use Okta in the corporate world, OKTA, and Okta warned people about a lot of different attacks on Okta move, to try to like not Okta as the company, but Okta clients to get into the admin who controls the Okta. And it seems like the attack is a little bit of a social engineering attack. but it does use a little bit of technology. So it's a little bit of like hacking humans with like human human intelligence. Um, if you plan on taking up information security, do you change schools now or later? That's right, J. Big Panther. How can they teach you when they can't keep themselves safe? Or maybe it's great. Maybe, it's the best place to be, the university that gets hacked. But then the students can stand up and say, listen, we want to help and make that school the most unhackable school, and you have like real world experience. That's really funny that thing to put out there. So I appreciate you, they think, Panther. Yeah, like what I actually find is most people who work in cybersecurity are like um, lifeguards at a pool, but because the pool that they watch is like a big company, it's very, the best VIP executives, whatever. They're like, we want the best lifeguards ever. But then also, most of the time, it's pretty safe and everyone knows how to swim and there's not that many problems. So most people who work in cybersecurity is pretty open secret. I've never worked with active threats. They haven't worked with real hacks and not like devastating ones. If they are responding to any kind of incident, it's something that's like definitely from the playbook and the remediation works. So most people actually never have that like really hard case. It's kind of like most doctors aren't that TV show House. Most detectives aren't like, Sherlock Holmes. Like, things just kind of solve themselves or they are what they are. In cybersecurity, it's very, very much so that most people actually don't do anything. No disrespect to people who work in it. It's just the nature of where we are right now with technology. But your job exists because in the rare case that something happens, it's probably going to be really, really bad. So instead of saying how many years have you worked in cyber, like 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, you can't even get a job without 3 to 5 years experience, which is ridiculous. What they really should ask is how many active real life incidents have you worked on, or did you go to a school that was hacked or something like that? Because going to University of Michigan might be as close as most people ever get to like a real serious issue. Could be good for you. So it might be the school you might want to run to. Maybe they should advertise it. Help us fix our cyber program. And you could be one of the students who can say that they worked on a real incident and actually made positive things happen. So yeah, there's that. What else did I want to talk about that's relevant? I had like a little short list, but it's really based on um there was some other stuff that happened pretty recently. Off the tip of my tongue, I don't remember. So I'm just gonna quickly disappear and see if I can find it here. Nope, of course I can't. I talked about Okta. I talked about um, Kali Linux. I think that's about it. I think that's there was some ransomware that was running loose. I try not to like advertise, or I don't want to seem like I'm here advocating for ransomware, like particular versions of the particular tools they are used. So I'm just gonna skip out on that one as I'm just wandering around this like open field in the middle of nowhere. Um, what else did I want to say? Yeah. Okay, we can switch back to anonymous. So yeah, the anonymous hacktivist group started out just doing, and it's very well documented in the book, Hacker, Hoaxer, Whistleblower, Spy. Started out really just creating mischief and like making random jokes, and has a trolling adjacent history. If you know about internet trolls. Oh, Dancer Burrito is there. Yes, yes. Dancer Burrito talks about the Polish train hack. Oop, I don't know if I disappear. I don't know if you guys can see me and hear me. Okay. Um, but yeah, there was this issue where, let me just go back. Um, I believe if we're talking about the same thing, the Polish train hack, where the train line in Poland was disrupted and hacked, and it totally created chaos. And I think at this point, if we're talking about the same thing, they've arrested two people that they believe are behind it. But either way, it was like a radio signal hack involving radios. So, it's kind of like that hack of Twitter that involved that there was hacked. Twitter was hacked by teenagers from Florida but it involved like cell phones, like the telephone system for Twitter through a system they had for people who were like sending a tweet from phone that they never turned off. So it just goes to show like the power of what we call legacy systems, which are systems that are usually vital, so we keep them on and running, but they're not new, they're not the latest greatest technology. They're from old. They're like a legend. They're legacy technologies. And yeah, I mean, you can hack anything, and you can be an expert in anything, and it's always going to be useful. I always tell people like, don't always chase after the latest language. Just be a master of the language you're in. Mastery over multitude is very important when it comes to this space, regardless of whether you're doing cybersecurity or defensive stuff, anything like that. So, yo, also, just wanted to say special shout out to Dancing with Burritos. Um, Thank you for your support. Thanks for always rocking so hard. Thanks for being here in the stream and also on our Discord, which is discord.gg/invite/crypto Harlem. That's discord.gg/invite/crypto Harlem. Because that's where you can keep in contact with us, like, between the streams, as I like to say. So, we stream every Saturday at 1 p.m. So I think like that's actually a pretty cool thing. Yeah. So, the book also kind of, this book again, Hacker, Hoaxer, Whistleblower, Spy. Boom. When it talks about Anonymous and the history of Anonymous, it also tries to solve a mystery. Like, how did Anonymous go from a group that was like troll adjacent, really just doing like mischief, doing wild things, tricks, and all kinds of things like that, practical jokes for the laughs or the lulls, as they say, right? To being a group that is known internationally, globally as the hacktivist organization, like freedom fighting activist. And it tells that story as like an unfolding of pieces, and it kind of holds that close to those cards close to the chest and slowly reveals them. And in that, there's like a little bit of a narrative arc, which I think is kind of cool when it comes to this book, and the history of this stuff. So definitely, like, peep it, check it out. Let's see. What else did I want to get into? Hmm. I think I think that's pretty much it. I don't know if I talked about this, that I was on a panel for this group called All Tech is Human, and they've now like are promoting the video of that panel. So I'll make sure that I don't think I can find it easily, but if anyone can find the All Tech is Human, the panel discussion is called um, Technology is Infrastructure. So people can kind of like see me in New York City talking about that stuff. Um, but one of the things I talk about is how to get into cybersecurity. Maybe it's go to University of Michigan, but one of the easier ways is to take this Coursera course called the Google Cybersecurity Professional Certification, where Google kind of like cuts up how to be a hacker, how to be a cybersecurity expert into little bite-sized pieces that are pretty easy to understand, I think. It's hard for me to not know anymore, so I try to clear my head and be like, how hard would this be? It's hard for me to make up, but definitely check it out. But if you don't have $50 a month for Coursera, and they tell you that it's going to take like 6 months or whatever, so it's like hundreds of dollars. If you live in New York State, you through the Department of Labor, you can apply for a Coursera account. Now, you would do this again. You have to have a New York IP address. I believe you have to have like a New York State IP address. Go to the New York Department of Labor. You could type in like free Coursera, New York Department of Labor. You have to have a personal email. You can't put an email that has at a company name or an organization name. It has to just be a regular Hotmail or Gmail or Outlook.com or whatever, AOL. And then within 72 hours, you should get a message that you're approved and you're good to go. Now, instead of logging into Coursera with an account that they make for you, you log in with your official New York City ID, which is used for electronic virtual services for New York State residents. Like if you wanted to pay a parking ticket type of thing, or, file something online or whatever. So you log in through a single sign on through a New York City ID, and then boom, you're in Coursera and you didn't have to pay for it, which is really cool. I think that's pretty awesome that they offer that to people. And then you can go to the Google cybersecurity professional page and start learning. You know what I'm saying? Oh, All Tech is Human link in the chat. Thank you so much, the Elixir. Wow, what a star. So here it is, the YouTube link. It's utu.be/ whatever, like these random 12, more than 12 characters or whatever. Um, and then you'll see the video and you can check it out. Let me know what you think. Let me know if it's helpful to you in any way, because we try to be super helpful here at Crypto Harlem. You know what I'm saying? Um, Also, I'm gonna reach out to the author of this book, see if she wants to talk about the book and talk about some things that like more like post 2015, since the book has been published. So we might hopefully be able to secure that interview and put that on the stream. That'll be cool. What else is coming up that's dope? I keep threatening new merch is gonna drop. That's gonna happen really soon. So that's gonna be dope. Um, really likes partnering with some designers to make some cool stuff. And so that'll be out there, and more of it's going to be coming out. um let's see what else. I think that's that. So let's see. What else did I want to talk about when it comes to this group? Oh yeah, I wanted to talk about Anonymous just a little bit more and just mention that they are a collective of collectives. They're actually not one organization, and that's probably why they're the most well known and probably the most like least understood, because it's hard to understand. It doesn't actually make sense. They don't have, like, a lot of the hacktivist groups that we'll talk about during this whole hacktivist history series. They have a manifesto, they have a belief system, they have a governance structure, they have some level of, even if they're flat or egalitarian or everyone's the same, there's some like office of communications, there's some official account. Anonymous, because of its nature, never really had that, which means it's kind of hard to die. It's also hard to thrive. It's completely decentralized in a way, even though it's not at all. That's another confusing thing. Even though there are definite people who are definitely involved and there's a definite history, at this point, like, who owns it? Nobody owns it, right? Nobody owns the name. Nobody owns the logos, all this other stuff like that, which, is an important thing to think about when you look at the different groups. And we'll once we cover all the different groups we're going to talk about, like, you know, Italy, groups in Latin America, groups that started in the US, groups that are more activisty, groups that are more hackery, groups that are more trolly, um, so, you know, distribute denial of secrets, um, um, if I said that right, um, crime think, um, indie media in general, uh, trying to think, the list. We went over it last week. Yeah, it's pretty wild. All right, so listen, I'm baking out here in the sun, so I might have to like end this one early so I can just not not fall out in the middle of nowhere, as you can hear the cicadas. But yo, I just wanted to let y'all know that I appreciate you for checking out the stream. Catch me a little bit on the Discord. Um, Stay connected to it. Follow us on Crypto Harlem. Check out the resources. We have new guides that are going to be published as well. So I often say, like, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So I'll say the new guides will be published by the first week of October. So they'll definitely be up there. Um, we have a guide on like how to keep a content management system from getting hacked and keep it online and things like that. WordPress, Drupal, all that other stuff. We have guides on like beginning to pen test the website, which I think is useful. So those are the things that we'll have out there. We'll have that new merch out. We'll have a bunch of cool stuff, new resources, new merch, big things coming in the future. So definitely peep it. Props to our intern crew. Sorry we didn't get to meet this week, y'all. If you're watching the stream, keep doing what you're doing. They're training for Pico CTF 2024, which happens in March 2024. And so keep studying what you're studying, y'all. And yeah, I think we're gonna wrap this one a little bit early. So that's that. Anyone in the chat, any thoughts, questions, whatever? Dancer Burrito says, thought you were gonna announce a book for a second. Yo, you know what I'm saying? From your mouth to publisher's ears, we might be. I think, like, it's about time. 10 years in the game, it's time for our book, right? So maybe at the end of all this hacktivist history, I will announce that and be like, yo, we got our book dropping. History of Crypto Harlem, the work that we do, all the stuff we've been involved in on the sides, you know what I'm saying? So keep that. Randomly, I'm being profiled in a book that comes out in October. I'll talk more about that later. Um, Friend of Crypto Harlem, Micah F. Lee, has a book that just came out, or it's actually like it's released in like a with errors way. So the official drop, I want to make sure I get the official drop date, and maybe we'll have Micah on to talk about the book. It's a really good guide on how to deal with like leaks that you might get from a hacktivist group or any kind of data leaks when you're trying to verify, do proper journalism on them, and process them. So thanks, Micah F. Lee, for writing your dope book, and we'll get into all that. So yeah, all right. Well, I didn't want to bounce without saying happy birthday, belated, to the Dancing with Burritos. Thank you for like, representing so much and just rocking so hard and being a solid human being. Um, let's see. I also wanted to, it's hard for me to do a roll call on here, but let me try. I might have to flip myself, see if I can try to, without having to flip upside down. But see if I can do it. Also, can I do it without creating a big audio mess? We'll see. So far, so good. This is always a challenge, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay, here we go. 01 Ella, Alien Gathering, Dances with Burritos. Thanks for dancing with us. Alien Gathering, aliens are real. Gathering on your keyboard. 01 Ella, thanks for always being there. Drap Snap, where are we without you? J Thing Pensa. Watching, viewing, asking questions, interacting, engaging, Kata, and VL Mercy. Don't forget a draw of things, chilling in the moderation. Thank you so much, a draw of things, for being there with us. Miss you so much. And D Elixir, of course, super moderator. Thank you. I hope. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! This is what I was trying not to do. Okay, I think I fixed that. So hopefully y'all heard all that. And yeah, to all y'all watching this stream, hopefully you see me okay. Just want to say peace. Have a wonderful day. It's a very, very special day today. It was a very, even more special day yesterday for many reasons. And we're going to rock on, keep rocking, okay? So encrypt, encrypt, encrypt. I catch you. Watch all the updates on the site. Hit us in the Discord. We out here. Peace.
People have been drawing maps since the early 1800s to try and understand where and when crime happens, in the hopes of better predicting where and when it will happen again. Today's crime maps are made by computers and fed by detailed crime data. Police departments routinely scan their precincts for hotspots, places experiencing a disproportionate amount of criminal activity. With the help of these maps, many departments simply put cops on the dots in order to prevent future crimes. This hotspot analysis has become more sophisticated, leading to predictive policing. Most predictive policing begins with a grid, dividing a city into squares that can be as small as half a block. Beginning with data of previous crimes, computer programs create a forecast for each square, estimating the risk of a crime occurring there during a precinct's next 4-hour shift. But beyond that, predictive policing systems differ in their approaches. Predpol was one of the first predictive policing tools on the market, and its forecasts are based solely on crime data, what kind of crime happened, where, and when. It builds on techniques for forecasting earthquakes, with the aftershocks of a crime reverberating across the city's grid. Then there's risk terrain modeling, which draws on the same basic crime data as well as features of the city, like proximity to a public transportation hub, a collection of bars, the current weather, or even the phases of the moon. HunchLab uses the same advanced factors as risk terrain modeling and adds a learning algorithm, a tree-based technique for assigning risk to grid cells. You can think of this like a game of 20 questions. Have there been complaints about disorderly conduct nearby recently? Is there a concentration of bars or liquor stores nearby? Is there a subway stop nearby? Answering each question sends you down a different branch of the tree, the end of the process being a risk value. Ultimately, HunchLab creates hundreds of these trees and combines them into a forest to create a robust forecasting tool. Will we ever really be able to predict crimes before they happen? Maybe not. But even the idea prompts important questions about how we manage police resources.